Frankly, I felt bad and disappointed given that Attorney Harry Roque filed the case against me in retaliation after I tried to expose his land grabbing activities in Marabeles, Bataan.
Hindi po ako ang nagdemanda kay Madriaga. Ang opisyal na nagdemanda po sa kanya for 2 counts for kidnapping ay ang anti-kidnapping group ng PNP. Sila po ang tumayong complainant doon sa kaso laban sa kanya.
I felt betrayed that despite all my efforts to support Sarah, to the extent of even committing high-risk acts for her and her family, she did not lift a finger to stop Harry Roque, who is her known ally and supporter, from filing the unfounded kidnapping case against me.
Yan po yung sinungaling na nagsasabi ngayon na ako daw ay personal lang nagalit sa kanya kaya siya nakasuhan ng kidnapping. Hindi po. Ebidensya po ang dahilan kung bakit siya nakasuhan ng kidnapping. At ang complainant po ay ang kapulisan at ang testigo kasama po ang biktima.
Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat mga kababayan. Panibagong araw, panibagong reaction video na naman po ang hatid namin sa inyo. Attorney Harry Roque, binara nga po ang mga naging pahayag nitong si Madriaga sa ginawang hearing dyan sa mababang kapulungan. Panoorin po natin ang kabuuan ng kanyang naging pahayag mga kababayan. Pero bago yan, kung bago ka pa lang dito sa ating channel, ay mag-subscribe ka na at i-click mo na din ang notification bell para maging updated ka sa mga susunod pa natin video. Paki-like at paki-share mo na din ng video ito sa iba pa natin mga kababayan. Maraming salamat po.
Ay, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ako alam ko po, nabuisit na kayo lahat. No? Ngayong araw nito dahil nakita nyo pagsisinungaling ng sinungaling na si Ramil Madriaga. No? Well, alam nyo po, kaya naman niya ako dinadawit dito sa kanyang testimonya. Para nga paniwalaan siya dahil habang siya ay nakakulong dahil sa 2 counts of kidnapping, wala talaga siyang kredibilidad. No? Ang problema sa kanya, kahit ano pang sabihin niya dito sa kaso na hinaharap niya ngayon na dahilan kung bakit siya nakakulong, minsan na siyang napatunayan nagkasala at nasentensyahan ng bitay sa kaso rin na kidnapping. No? At yung sarili niyang abogado na responsable para mabaliktad yung conviction niya sa Korte Suprema ay nagsasabing na pinagsisisihan niya yung naging kliyente niya si Ramil Madriaga dahil nga hindi naman niya akalaing ganitong kasinungaling itong taong ito. Pero
Iyak-iyak pa eh. Best actor.
Any case, meron tayong kasabihan no, na ang sinungaling ay sinungaling. Okay? At yan naman po ang ating pag-uusapan ngayon. Una-una, hindi po ako ang nagdemanda kay Madriaga. Ang opisyal na nagdemanda po sa kanya for 2 counts for kidnapping ay ang anti-kidnapping group ng PNP. Sila po ang tumayong complainant doon sa kaso laban sa kanya. Ano ang ginamit na ebidensya ng AKG? Pinaka-importante po ang testimonya ng mga testigo. Bukod pa dyan, yung mga testimonya ng mga miyembro ng AKG na nag-surveillance na kung paano nila nahanap yung sasakyan na ginamit sa pagdukot sa dalawang Filipino-Chinese ay naroon sa labas ng bahay ni Madriaga. Nandyan din yung testimonya ng mga pulis na sumunod doon sa kanyang pinsan nung araw na nagkaroon ng bigayan ng ransom money at sinundan nga yung pinsan na yon mula doon sa lugar kung saan nagpalitan ng pera sa Laguna papunta sa bahay niya at yung motorsiklo na sinakyan, identified din na ginamit talaga sa abduction. No? So, meron pang mga text messages. No? Yung mga text messages na nagpapatunay na nagkakaroon ng komunikasyon doon sa mga kidnappers at saka doon sa mga pamilya ng mga biktima, doon din sa araw na nagbayad ng ransom at saka yung mga iba pang araw na nakikipag-negotiate sila kung magkano nga ang ransom. So, ibig sabihin, hindi po ako ang nagrereklamo sa kanya. Hindi po ako ang dahilan kung bakit siya nakasuhan. Ang dahilan po ay dahil sa reklamo ng AKG at ang naging basihan naman ng mga piskal para sabihin na mayroong reasonable chance of successful prosecution at probable cause laban kay Madriaga ay ang ebidensya. Ebidensya na nanggaling sa mga biktima ng kidnapping, ebidensya na nanggaling sa PNP dahil sila nga po ay nagkaroon ng malawakan at malalimang investigasyon sa kasong ito. So dahil nga po dyan, pati po ang hukuman, bagamat hindi pa siya napapatunayan nagkasala, matapos namin ipresenta ang mahigit kumulang 10 testigo ay nagsabi malakas ang ebidensya laban kay Ramil Madriaga kaya nga po pinagkaitan sa kanya ang pagpapiyansa para magkaroon ng panandaliang kalayaan habang dinidinig ang kanyang kaso. Yan po yung sinungaling na nagsasabi ngayon na ako daw ay personal lang nagalit sa kanya kaya siya nakasuhan ng kidnapping. Hindi po. Ebidensya po ang dahilan kung bakit siya nakasuhan ng kidnapping. At ang complainant po ay ang kapulisan at ang testigo kasama po ang biktima. Ang nakakalungkot lang nga po, talagang binabaliwala ni Madriaga kung gano'ng kadugo itong kasong ito. May napatay pong batang-batang pulis nung araw na na-recover ang mga biktima at meron ding 2 kidnapper na napatay. 3 po ang napatay dito and yet sinasabi niya, figment of my imagination lang daw yung pangyayaring kidnapping. Hindi po yan totoo, no? Tanungin niyo po yan sa mga biktima ng kidnapping mismo at tanungin niyo po dyan yung sa mga kaanak ng napatay nung araw na nagkaroon ng palitan ng bayad ng ransom money. Kaya nga po, dahil napapatunayan naman natin sinungaling si Madriaga, lahat ng sinasabi niya ay talaga naman pong puro kasinungalingan din, lalong-lalo na mga paratang niya laban kay BP Sara. Katunayan po, yung kanya mga sinasabi na naging empleyado siya ni BP Sara, na siya ay naging katiwala ni BP Sara, lahat naman po yan pwede niyang binanggit dun sa kanyang counter affidavit doon sa piskalya. At saka yung sinasabi niyang personal na motivation ko para kasuhan siya, ni minsan hindi po niya lidabas yan dun sa piskalya habang nagkakaroon ng preliminary investigation. Bakit ngayon lang po lumabas yan? Well, ngayon lang po lumabas yan kasi ngayon lang siya pinangakuan. Nakapalit ng kasinungalingan o pwede siya mapawalang basa doon sa mapawalang bisa ang kanyang mga kaso laban sa kanya na mga heinous, no? Kidnapping for ransom. Kaya nga po nakakalungkot, bukod pa doon sa kasinungalingan niya sa akin, kasinungalingan niya laban kay BP Sara, binababoy po ng administrasyon dahil sa kanilang kagustuhan na masiraan o sirain ng tuluyan si BP Sara, binababoy po nila ang ating sistema ng katarungan. Dahil, kita nyo po ha, halatang halata, kapalit ng kanyang kasinungalingan, nais na siyang bigyan ng special treatment, mabuti na lang, hindi pinagbigyan ng hukuman ng paglilipat sa kanyang kulungan. Nakakalabas nga siya ngayon sa komite at ginagamit pa yung dahilan ng korte na kinakailangang ibalik siya para wag siyang matanong ng kahit sino. Para yung kanyang kasinungalingan, yan lang ang maririnig, no? At hindi naman na subject siya to cross-examination para malaman kung nagsasabi nga siya ng katotohanan. Nakakagalit po ang nangyari ngayon sa Kongreso. Dahil po sa gustuhin nilang sirain si BP Sara bilang pinakamalaking banta sa kagustuhan ng mga Marcoses sa manatili sa katungkulan, sinisira po nila yung tiwala ng ating taong bayan sa ating sistema ng katarungan. Wag naman po. Hindi po yan dapat ginagawa, lalong-lalo na ng mga mambabatas, dahil sino ngayon ang susunod sa mga batas na bubuin ng mga mambabatas kung sila mismo ay hindi sumusunod sa batas at kung sila mismo ang nag-iinganyo sa ating mga kababayan na baliwalain ang batas, baliwalain ang mga krimen na ginagawa ng mga kriminal na ginagawa pa nila ngayong mga star. Maraming salamat po sa inyong patuloy na pagtangkilik at sa inyong tiwala sa akin at kay BP Sara. Kahit ano na pong putik ang ibato nila sa akin at kay BP Sara, naniniwala naman po kami na may sapat na katalinuhan ang mga Pilipino para malaman kung ano ang kasinungalingan, anong katotohanan. And as God is my witness, wala po akong kahit anong krimen na ginawa laban kahit kanino. Maraming salamat po muli sa inyong patuloy pagtangkilik at patuloy na tiwala. Ito po yung Spoksagbayan nagsasabi, I love you Philippines, the only country that I love, the only country that I will have. God bless the Philippines and patuloy po ang laban.
Election of Sara as Vice President and OBP Confidential Funds. Number 52. After the election of Sara as Vice President, she invited me to attend her inauguration at the San Pedro Square, Davao City on June 19, 2022. A photo of Sara and me during her inauguration in Davao City is here to attest as Annex J. A photo of an email thanking me for my attendance during her inauguration in Davao City is here to attest as Annex J-1.
Sinabi na yun ng abogado ni BP Sara na hindi naman ikaw yung imbitado. Yung kakilala mo yung imbitado, pinalit ka lang dahil hindi siya makakapunta. Hindi talaga ikaw yung imbitado.
Number 53. I was then tasked to provide security intelligence work through the formation of Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group. During this time, I introduced and recommended Colonel Dennis Nolasco, one of my best students in the Presidential Security Group, to assist this matter. Number 54. Colonel Nolasco then tapped the services of Colonel Raymond Dante Lachica, who had the BPSPG. Afterwards, I worked with both Colonels Nolasco and Lachica from July 2022 to April 2023 for tactical transport services, security of SARA and other VIPs, handling and conveying and highly confidential information, and the transportation of large amount of money to several persons as instructed by SARA. Money deliveries under the instruction of SARA. In the morning of December 20, 2022, SARA called me and she said, "Sir Ram, please coordinate with Colonel Nolasco. Meron tayong deliver sa San Pablo, Laguna, sa Night Street, at sa Ombudsman." SARA added, "Bawi tayo sa kanila later." Later, I received a text message from her indicating the places of delivery, which include San Pablo, Laguna, Night Street, Office of the Ombudsman, and the corresponding contact numbers. Number 56. Later that morning, Colonel Nolasco sent me a text message directing me to go to the DepEd Central Office in Pasig City, beside Ultra at around 1:30 p.m. for the transport. Transport is a shorthand for delivery or transportation of large sums of money between Colonel Nolasco and me upon the instruction of SARA. After receiving the text message, I hurriedly prepared and went to the DepEd Central Office together with 4 other individuals: Richard Babagay, Arman Villanueva, a certain Chip, and a certain Ruel. Number 58. Richard and I were aboard my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser, while Arman, Ruel, Noel, and Chip came in Toyota Grandia with the sticker Inday Sara Champura Duterte attached to both sides of the van. Richard was driving my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and Chip was driving the Toyota Grandia. A photo of the Toyota Grandia with the sticker Inday Sara Champura Duterte on both sides of the van is here to attach as Annex K. A photo of my blue FJ Cruiser is here to attach as Annex K-1. Number 59. As we parked my Toyota FJ Cruiser near the main entrance of DepEd, Colonel Nolasco appeared from the main entrance and approached our vehicle. I alighted to the vehicle to meet Colonel Nolasco and we talked while we waited for the arrival of Colonel Lachica. He mentioned that they will also provide a red Mazda sedan, which will be used to deliver the money to the office of the Ombudsman. At around past 3 or 4 p.m., 2 government vehicles with red plates entered the DepEd compound and then Colonel Nolasco told me, "Ayan na, ayan na." Colonel Lachica appeared with a lady who I later learned to be Special Disbursement Officer Gina Acosta. Thereafter, 4 large dark bags were unloaded from the vehicles. 3 large dark bags and 1 lighter colored and relatively smaller bag. Colonel Nolasco told me that each bag contained around 30 million pesos to 35 million pesos. The 4 bags were brought to where Colonel Nolasco and I were standing, which was near my blue Toyota FJ. Afterwards, I signaled Arman and Richard to load the same to our vehicles. The two large dark bags were placed in the Toyota Grandia and 1 large dark bag and 1 lighter colored bag were placed in my blue FJ Cruiser. The bags loaded to the Toyota Grandia were to be delivered separately to San Pablo, Laguna, and Nomu, Bashu, Tomas Morato, Quezon City on the same day. The remaining bags, initially loaded to my blue FJ Cruiser, were immediately transferred to the red Mazda sedan prior to our departure from the DepEd compound and were to be delivered to the Ombudsman parking lot the following day. Then, the red Mazda sedan proceeded directly to my residence in Cainta, Rizal, and was driven by Noel. Before leaving DepEd Central Office, Colonel Nolasco told me to get my share from the said bags, and he and Colonel La Chica have already taken theirs. Hence, I took 1 million pesos for myself from the lighter colored bag loaded to the red Mazda sedan. That's when I verified that the contents of the bags were bundles of cash in 1,000 denominations and packed in stacks of 1 million pesos, each tightly sealed in transparent plastic. We, Blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and Toyota Grandia, left DepEd Central Office past 5 p.m., heading to San Pablo, Laguna. As we approached Laguna, I called the contact number provided by Sarah, informing the designated recipient that we are on our way. However, I was directed to proceed to Cabuyao, Laguna instead. We arrived in Cabuyao, Laguna past 8 p.m. and were then instructed to proceed to an area inside the industrial park to meet individuals who were designated to receive the first bag for a politician in Laguna. As we approached the designated place, I can clearly see from our vantage point an SNR membership shopping establishment. Upon arrival, I immediately saw 3 persons standing in wait beside the dark sports utility vehicle. One of them proceeded to the Toyota Grandia and took one of the bags. We immediately left after the delivery of the first bag. 65. Thereafter, we proceeded to Nomu Bashu, Tomas Morato, Quezon City, a comedy bar we call the Night Strip, frequented by SSC Law alumni including Attorney Ryan and Attorney Monsayak. 66. I'm quite familiar with Nomu Bashu because I previously visited it several times in relation to my work with Sarah and ISIP Filipinas. In fact, this is the same place where ISIP gave Attorney Monsayak certification of recognition and appreciation. We arrived at Nomu Bashu around 12 midnight. I went inside the establishment with Arman, who was carrying the second bag. I immediately saw Attorney Monsayak, who was at the time in the middle of the place together with a woman and several men. When he saw me, he stood up and signaled for us to go upstairs. We then proceeded to the stairs leading to the second floor. Arman walked ahead of me while I followed him. Before I got to the second floor, I saw a man who came out of the room and received the bag from Arman. After that, we proceeded to exit the premises, and as I was passing near the table of Attorney Monsayak, I looked at him and he nodded. And we completed the delivery to Nomu Bashu. We stopped to eat around the area while eating. I told Arman and Richard to meet me at my house in Cainta, Rizal, later that day at 8 a.m. Number 70. At around 8 a.m. the same day, the team met in my residence at Cainta, Rizal before we traveled to the last location, OMB parking area. This time, however, we only used my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and the red Mazda sedan, where the remaining 2 bags were previously placed. We left my residence at around 8:30 a.m. Richard was driving my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser, while Arman and another person, Noel, and he brought along were aboard the red Mazda sedan. '71. When we arrived, the guard gave a signal directing us to park in a specific area in the Ombudsman parking lot. We proceeded to the specific area and parked red Mazda sedan where the remaining 2 bags of money were placed. We left the keys on top of the left front of the wheel, which is our usual practice for delivering large amounts of money. 72. Previously and upon direct instructions of PRD, Sara. I've also delivered money to Ombudsman Samuel Martires or Tony Ryan, which I usually place inside an open trunk of a designated car. Number 73. After completing the last delivery, we left the Ombudsman compound aboard my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser. A few years later, I read from several media reports that 125 million OBP confidential funds in 2022 were reportedly utilized in just 11 days. This is wrong because I personally disposed the money in less than 24 hours. Sara attempt to visit me at Annex 2 BJMP Camp Bagong Diwa. May I proceed, Madam Chair po?
Feel free to start whenever you want.
Grabe yung bait kay Madriaga.
Number 74. A few years later, I read from several media reports that the 125 million pesos OBP confidential funds in 2022 were reportedly utilized in just 11 days. This is wrong because I personally disposed the money in less than 24 hours. Sara's attempt to visit me at Annex 2 BJMP Camp Bagong Diwa. Number 75. Sometime in October 2025, after I got arrested for alleged kidnapping, I was called by Jail Warden Jose Marie Sabiniano in his office. As I made my way to the office of Jail Warden Sabiniano, I was surprised to see Sara through the metal railings of the passageway. She smiled and waved at me. Number 76. When I entered the office of the jail warden, Sabiniano, he asked me if I know Attorney Joyce. I replied, Joyce dapat, and jail warden Sabiniano handed me a phone. When I said hello, I recognized the voice of Sara, and she asked me about my well-being and conditions inside the detention facility. She was also apologetic for failing to do something or assist in my ongoing criminal case. 77. Frankly, I felt bad and disappointed given that Attorney Harry Roque filed the case against me in retaliation after I tried to expose his land-grabbing activities in Maribeles, Bataan, together with his Philippine offshore gaming operator partners. As I previously mentioned, I was merely trying to assist the farmers of the said area who were supposed to be awarded of their certificate of land ownership award by the Department of Agrarian Reform but fell victim to Attorney Harry Roque's activities. Attorney Roque and his POGO partners wanted to convert the said place into a POGO hub after he facilitated the transfer of at least 60 land titles to First Bataan Maribeles Holding Corporations. In fact, Danny Corral, President and Chief Executive Officers of First Bataan Maribeles Holding Corporations, is also an incorporator of Lucky South 1999 Outsourcing Incorporated and Lucky South 1999 Corporation, which were involved in POGO operations in Pampanga. Number 80, more importantly, I felt betrayed that despite all my efforts to support Sara, to the extent of even committing high-risk acts for her and her family, she did not lift a finger to stop Harry Roque, who is her known ally and supporter, from filing the unfounded kidnapping case against me.
At yun na nga mga kababayan, hanggang dito na lang po ang ating video. Kung ano man po ang inyong opinion sa video ito, ay comment nyo lang po sa baba at ating pag-uusapan na po yung maging kabahagi po tayong lahat tungo sa pagsulong at pag-unlad ng ating pinakamamahal na bansang Pilipinas. Ingat po kayo palagi at maraming salamat.